Hello and welcome to Center of Weirdness, the weird podcast about very weird stuff, but mostly it's just about weird random TV shows. I'm Josh, and with me as always is Skinner. Hey, Skinner.
Hey, Josh. Hey, all my big rigs out there.
So this week on the show, we are covering a show that I think we found out about maybe sometime last year. And we were kind of blown away by just the general concept of it. And we knew that we wanted to talk about it in some form or fashion. And that is 18 Wheels of Justice. Which is exactly what is happening in Canada right now while we're recording this.
Oh, hurts my heart. This has somebody who would probably have been part of a freedom convoy. Doesn't want the government trotting on his land or his rights.
Yeah, I think.
But he's not the bad guy, kind of.
Oh wait, are you referring to G. Gordon Liddy?
Oh man.
So yeah, this show, 18 Wheels of Justice, started in 2000, which still feels late for this kind of show. I feel like this would be a show that would really flourish in like 97, but 2000 just feels a little late.
Feels a little late. And the fact that it had constant advertisements for shows from the 80s during it made it feel like, why is this a new show?
So yeah, we found the only episode that we could find, which is on a YouTube rip, and it's episode 12 of season 2, a place called Defiance, which aired in March of 2001. There are apparently no other episodes available, at least not streaming or available to us without having to potentially buy a DVD, which I was not prepared to do. But having seen an episode, I may end up buying this on DVD.
I'm here. The second season, comparative to what they say the plot synopsis of the overall show is on the very few websites that cover it,
sure,
makes it really seem like the first season be very different, and also would basically tell you that there doesn't need to be a second season.
Yeah, okay. So let me read the IMDb plot synopsis of the show, just so we kind of have a good starting point for this in case anyone out there has never heard of this, which is probably everyone listening. So Michael Cates is an agent for the Justice Department. His assignment is to infiltrate the organization of Jacob Calder, played by G. Gordon Liddy, a deadly and vicious crime boss. He saw Calder kill his mistress. Now, I think when we originally found out about the show, we weren't sure if that meant Calder killed Michael Cates' mistress or Calder's mistress. Either way, Calder is brought to trial and convicted, but Calder was not going to let Cates off the hook, so he took out a contract on Cates. The hitman missed Cates, but was able to get Cates' wife and daughter, so still not clearing up whether it was Cates' mistress or Calder's mistress. And Cates' boss, Burton Hardesty, who was played by Billy D. Williams, but who unfortunately is not in this episode, decides that the best way for Michael to avoid Calder's hitman is for him to pose as Chance Bowman, a trucker, and drive all around the country. Cates, however, cannot help but get involved with the lives of the people whom he meets and seems to run into people who have deals with or know Calder. So as a result of this, Calder gets a line on him and either sends someone to take him out or offers the bounty he placed on Cates to the people who informed him.
So
thank you to RCS0411 at yahoo.com for that synopsis.
The only more than one sentence synopsis of the show anywhere on the internet. By this season, by mid-season 2, Calder is in jail.
Yep.
And he is basically working for them in a Hannibal Lecter style way.
Yes.
And Chance Bowman, just going by Chance Bowman, not Michael Cates, is not really posing as a truck driver. He's just actively just helping out at federal government crime scenes.
Yeah, so like this episode, maybe there is something that happens. If you're an 18 Wheels of Justice super fan, please feel free to let us know. Maybe something happens in one of the like episodes between maybe season 2 or season 1 into season 2. It's him renouncing the Michael Cates name and fully changing his name to Chance Bowman permanently, because that's who he feels like he really is now. And so, because like it says that Billy D. Williams is on 26 episodes, but then he leaves and I think is replaced by another character. They couldn't have more than one black guy on the show at once, so they get rid of Billy D. Williams and bring on an actor named Bobby Hosea, who is playing Jonathan Snow, who knows nothing except cool duster jackets, which he wears throughout the entire episode.
He wears it indoors. He wears it outdoors. He goes across state lines, goes from a crime scene in the middle of nowhere to a state federal prison and back, and he never takes off this coat and scarf. It is the star of the show.
Absolutely. So there's this whole thing going on, and then Chance Bowman is riding around with Agent Cecilia C. Baxter, who's played by an actress named Lisa Thornhill, who in the credits is credited as guest starring.
I think maybe in the first season she was, but like at this point she's the other main character.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at IMDb, it lists her as being in 45 episodes. So I think at a certain point you're no longer a guest star.
What's weird about that is that Lisa Thornhill and Lucky Vanus, the stars of the show, are in 45 episodes. G. Gordon Liddy is in 46.
Maybe there's just an episode all about him.
Oh, there's a pilot that they weren't cast in. G. Gordon Liddy, a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, a criminal, a racist criminal.
A racist criminal who, because the way we work, he was famous for doing Watergate, and everyone decided, as of putting him on Airwolf in 1986, yeah, we can make him a fucking actor. And so he's in Miami Vice, which has a tie-in for what we watched. MacGyver, Encyclopedia Brown, and this, and eventually Fear Factor. And now, in a good turn of events last year, he's fucking dead.
Now he's starring in The Grave.
He's starring in The Grave.
The equivalent of him.
If you don't have anything to argue with that, look at what he wrote and did, and he can go kick my ass from The Grave.
Yeah, the equivalent of him being on this show is like if they were to do something like wild, like, I don't know, put Rudy Giuliani on The Masked Singer or something.
Oh, that would be, God forbid that entertainment try to decide, doesn't understand the difference between well-known and famous and infamous.
or let what was that guy's name? Dance with the
Sean
Stars.
Spicer.
Yeah, Sean Spicer.
Don't worry. Every single person who was famous for being a piece of shit for 4 years and racist, they're just famous now. We just know who they are. They have name value.
Yeah.
They have a Q rating.
I mean, we'll probably get another season of The Apprentice before too much longer.
Oh, someone's going to cast one of the Trump kids in something. It will be terrible, but there's
one of those
channels for that.
Maybe the next Daily Wire movie will have a great cameo by one of them. But anyway, so we open the episode now that we've sort of established what's going on. Basically, Chance Bowman, played by Lucky Vanus, travels around and helps people like the Incredible Hulk, but with a giant truck instead of gamma radiated powers.
A really big truck.
And so we open the episode. We again watch this on YouTube. It's a rip from an actual broadcast on TNN right after they had switched over from being the Nashville network, which is how I always knew it, to the national network, and before they became Spike TV and all that. But as a fun result of this being a rip from TV, we got a really good sense of what 2001 TNN was like. And this was before sort of the height of the internet and social media, because every couple minutes they would put up a little card at the bottom of the screen that took up probably a fourth of the screen that basically said TNN takes your calls 24/7. And then they would put up little messages from people about various shows.
So very funny ones with this. And this is like when shows, this doesn't happen as often now, but like when Twitter really first got accepted by media, a lot of shows love to put up tweets on air. and you immediately realize how absolutely vacuous most people are, and just they watch a show and would write things like, "I like this show," because they're stupid. These people had to pick up the phone, call in, and say, "I'm going to say something that you should put on the screen of the show I'm watching." The first one we see is, and mind you, we're just giving the credits of this show that has so far it's just been a truck basically, and it just says, "Them boys dress like sissies," and then it says right after that, "You're watching Miami Vice." We are not.
Yeah,
instead we're watching someone. It looks like a paintball in the woods, but apparently it was actual gunfire.
Yeah, so yeah, there were lots of those little pop-ups, which were very fun. Lots of talking about how Jim Ross was the best, like round announcer of all time. How Edward James Olmos is my favorite actor. Really?
Really? It's even written like that. Like they were shocked that they thought that.
But yeah, really fun. But anyway, so let's get to the episode proper. Some boys are out in the woods. I thought they were both kids, but apparently one of them is old enough to have a 1-year-old daughter, which I didn't get totally at first. But they're out there, I think, hunting. And one of the kids comes upon 2 or 3 like SWAT looking guys, and he is surprised, and he kind of stumbles backwards and ends up shooting a gun. And I don't know, does his misfire kill one of the ATF agents, or did they accidentally kill the ATF agent?
I couldn't tell. This is shot really shittily.
Yeah, and also
like,
the conversion that we have is not great.
But like, in theory, this is like an inciting incident of on like a tract of land where a crazy guy who's anti-government is clashing with with his family that he has religious power over. This is not the bad guy of the show, really. Is clashing with federal agents, but it's so, even this part is so low energy. Like I wasn't really paying attention because like this doesn't matter. They're just talking. No one looks that like even when one of them dies, no one's that concerned.
Yeah, no, it's a very sort of extremely low energy performances all around, basically. But something happens where one of the ATF agents is killed. I think it's a misfire. The kid accidentally shoots him. It's a mistake, clearly, but they shoot the kid in the back as he's trying to run away. And it becomes a whole thing, and the kids run off, and the ATF agents, who we know immediately are crooked because they're saying, well, now we can bring in actual backup and do this thing legitimately by the book and make sure that we can get what we're after. So unclear exactly what that is, but yeah, it's we know something is amiss. We know that these guys are bad guys. And we get the great opening credits for 18 Wheels of Justice. If you're only gonna not watch, if you're not gonna watch the episode, check out the credits. You can find those on YouTube if you search for them.
We get a truck through the wall immediately.
Yes, truck driving through a wall. We get a lot of cars flipping. We get some explosions.
Eyes over the title of the show.
Yeah, I will say that there's not enough truck driving in this one.
I mean,
it's very
there's a very long
in a montage, and that's about it.
I mean, there is a long scene of truck driving, but that ends it completely ends for the rest of the show, which is sad. I bet this opening sequence was longer in season 1 at the start.
Probably, because there are probably more actors in it at that point.
Now, at this point, I want to mention that our lead star who plays Chance Bowman is named Lucky Vanus.
Lucky Vanus, or Vanu. So
he's Vanu, or it doesn't matter. He was out of the business right after this, as was basically everyone else. The bit players in the show had long careers. He did not.
Yeah.
He's one of those people who has a mini bio on IMDb that is neither mini and nor bio. It's posted by anonymous. It's clearly by him. Goes extensively into his work as a First Ranger Battalion Black Berets.
Oh, so he has
elite anti-terrorist and anti-guerrilla response team.
So he has a similar background to his character, Chance Bowman.
Yes, in theory, but this is not why he was hired for this.
Oh, okay.
He's famous for, and this is very funny, for being somebody who apparently is a deadly weapon walking around, yet looks just like the guy from fucking Time Cop. Same fucking haircut. It looks exactly like somewhere between that guy and Ben Browder from Farscape. The same fucking bedhead idiot. Every 6'4".
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy. He is famous for, there was a series of Diet Coke commercials in the late 80s where it was famous for reversing gender roles.
Oh, he was that guy?
He's the construction worker who all the lady workers ogle.
Shit.
And which apparently, according to his mini bio, posted by someone who's anonymous, who clearly is not him, is one of the most successful promotions in American and European history. He had a series of calendars. He's became very famous from this. Got a job on Pacific Palisades.
Oh, okay.
Telling, famously did not go anywhere.
Yeah. And
then he got this.
Wow. All right. Very, very cool. Yeah, he's a big boy. He's kind of like he's sort of like he's the Jack Reacher of his day.
He's deceptively large. Like every now and then, I mean, he is larger than Tom Cruise's Jack Reacher.
I meant the Amazon Jack Reacher.
You mean the one who's not comically miscast?
No.
in a gigantic ego yank. But like every now and then you'll think someone else is large in the show because they're larger than G. Gordon Liddy, and then Lucky will walk into frame and dwarf fucking everyone.
Yeah. He's a big guy.
He's got a lot of torso.
He does. He does have a lot of torso. So we
get a song.
Well, not yet. We gotta talk about Millie's Chili Stop first. So,
that's right, because he has to drive from Millie Chili's to there.
Yes. So we meet our hero. This must have been like, maybe this was like a reset point or something, because there's a lot of dialogue right up front between C and Chance about the new outfitting that his truck has undergone. So he has an entire forensics lab in the back of his truck now, which we see later, and it looks like an optometry office. But he apparently has a forensics lab in the back of the truck now, and they've stopped at a food truck that's seated off the side of the road for tourists who are heading up a mountain. And he immediately gets guff from Millie, the owner of the establishment, about wanting to get some chili that they are very famous for, apparently. But she says they only serve it at 11, from 11 to 5. And he's very salty about this. But C shows her negotiation tactics, which will come in handy later, and is able to get a chili omelet with the chili on the side, because she sweet talks Millie and says that my grandmother's name was Millie, and that gives Millie a good feeling, and she allows her to get what she wants. And she says, you just got to learn how to talk to people. They immediately get a call, though, before they can enjoy their chili, from Jonathan Snow, wearing his duster up at a standoff on Defiance Mountain. I think that's what it's called. And he basically needs them up there to help. It's unclear why, because if Chance Bowman is just a fucking truck driver, why is he there?
Yeah, because if you read the rundown for the show, he just goes from place to place and just happens to help people he meets. Now he has a forensics lab, which they really don't need.
No.
And they call in this guy who, up until this point, apparently has been pretending he isn't a federal agent. He's in fact not using his federal agent name still.
It's unclear who exactly Jonathan Snow is. Like, we think that he might be the assistant attorney general.
He's the assistant AG with a gun,
which is very strange. Like he's arresting people at the end, which seems
could you imagine this isn't like the attorney generals of states or the government like going to fucking Montana compounds and throwing down and grabbing people and putting guns to them?
No, but we get to see it in this episode.
You have staff, so you don't have to do that. But to get to there, we have an entire song play while the truck drives to this scene.
A song that we learned at the end of the episode was by the band California, remarkably from California.
Trauma Records label.
Yes. Yeah, it says get the album from California on Trauma Records, which is a very interesting record company name. I did look them up. They have a Facebook page, California-Rock and Roll Band. Their username is @CaliforniaIsABand. Can't really find out any real information about them. The last thing they posted was in February of 2021, wishing a happy birthday to their lead singer. And that is all that I see. So I have no idea. I guess they probably are still a band if they're still posting up until last year, but who knows, man.
It's the full song. And
yes,
it's just very funny because if there's a show called 18 Wheels of Justice and we get to watch a giant truck, shiny as fuck, just drive and drive and drive. And like so far we're like 10 minutes in and we've gotten chilly negotiations and then this truck driving to a song. We're like, this is covering a lot of time. Then the 18-wheeler pulls up to an active crime scene and it's the dumbest looking shit I've ever seen. Like, a lot of vehicles pull up to active crime scenes, not a semi-truck.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and they hop out and are given no resistance whatsoever. They just show up there, start talking to Jonathan Snow.
Yeah, in theory, like if they were still outside the system or something like that, like everyone would be like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Everyone's like, "Oh, cool, it's the guy at the forensic lab in his truck trailer. He belongs here." Like no one ever really says he doesn't belong there.
Yeah, no. Like even the ATF guys, when they're kind of getting pissed off, they're like, "Well, I guess he's got jurisdiction because he's here with the attorney general, even though he seems to be using a fake name." And
so let's talk. Like, there's a lot of plot in this one that I don't give a shit about. What I do give a shit about is one of the main bad guy is a ATF. One of the ATF guys from the start. His name Harrington. Harrison?
It's Harrison. He's played by he is played by Matt Battaglia. I looked him up. And he's an actor who's been in quite a few things and things that I might want to see at some point. He sort of took over for I think for Van Damme in the Universal Soldier franchise. So he is in Universal Soldier 2, Brothers in Arms, starring alongside Jeff Wincott and Gary Busey. And then he is in Universal Soldier 3, Unfinished Business, again starring alongside Jeff Wincott and Burt Reynolds. So he's been in some movies with some later day movies with Steven Seagal.
Of course.
He's got like 90 credits to his name. He's also been on some actual things, like he was on the For All Mankind TV series that was on Apple Plus. He played John Glenn in that one, which would make some sense. He was on a episode of the MacGyver reboot series. He was on an episode of the Hawaii Five-0 reboot series, Criminal Minds, and NCIS. Apparently, he was on an episode of True Detective, which I didn't.
I wish he was on the Miami Vice reboot because then it would have really tied it all together.
On some episodes of 24, CSI Miami, doing things where you would kind of expect him to play a cop, which totally makes a lot of sense.
What's important to him for us?
Yes, there's a big key thing that we zoned in on with this guy.
is that he not only does he have the general shape of, but he sounds exactly like Peyton Manning.
Yes, he does.
Like distractingly so. He
Yeah.
has the same cadence, and he constantly sounds like he's about to call out a football play. Like every time he like is going about like telling his other people about how he wants them to surround this shack, which is what they're doing right now. There's a shack that the cult leader lives in, or family dad, and it just sounds like he might go blue 42, audible, and it's just. He talks the same way exactly. The same timbre. He's got the same neck. He's got the same jaw. He holds his mouth the same. It's ridiculous.
Well, so Matt Battaglia, we might be seeing again. No guarantees that we'll do the episodes that he's in, but he is in an episode of Renegade, which I know we want to cover on this show for sure. And he's also in an episode of Time Tracks, which is definitely a show we will be covering because
that is for sure. We have done the other half of it.
Yeah, we did Time Cop, and Time Tracks is very similar to Time Cop. So we will be covering an episode of Time Tracks. Maybe it'll be the one with Matt Battaglia. Maybe we will see him again. Oh, and apparently also he was in an episode of the Time Cop TV series. Oh, wait. No, I'm looking at the wrong IMDb. He was in Time Tracks, but the lady who plays C, Lisa Thornhill, is in an episode of the Time Cop TV series.
Which is funny because she's playing basically the same role as the lead actress in Time Cop.
Yes, exactly. She basically is exactly the same character. Oh, shit. And in our old podcast, Predictocast, she was apparently also in Power 98 with Eric Roberts.
Fuck, I'm trying to blow that movie right out of my brain. Was she the one who got knocked? Is she the one who got tossed off the
I don't know. She played Vivian Porter, so I don't know who that is. Maybe that was the woman at the beginning who got killed. I can't recall, but boy, that was a wild one. But we have these great connections. We have all these wonderful callbacks to previous things that we've done.
Man, so if this episode took place, especially after 2016, like the government would be completely like helping out, like they'd be putting like kind of lip service to like, we have to stop this guy on this compound, this shack, but like we actually support him. Maybe he'll run for governor someday. Yeah. But because he's not, even in this, he's not the bad guy. They know what channel they're on.
Yeah.
But like, what did I say? Because it was very clear earlier there's something else going on. And what did I say I wanted it to be, Josh?
I mean, you said some gold in them there hills.
I wanted there to be doubloons. It was better than that, but I was on the right track.
Yes, it is better than that. So we knew from the beginning that there's something going on. Why these ATF guys? Why Peyton Manning is there trying to get this guy out of the way so he can get at something. We didn't know what it was, but we assumed probably some sort of treasure. But so there's a lot of back and forth here. Like Chance takes a phone and some medical equipment to the house because the kid who was shot, he's okay, but he's losing a lot of blood and he's kind of coming to, here and there. It's played by Adam Wiley, who was a kid actor in tons of stuff. Like he was in Picket Fences. He was in Child's Play 2. He was in that movie Under Wraps about the mummy that they bring back to life. Apparently Under Wraps 2 is in pre-production right now, so he's coming back for that.
I wonder if the details for that are under wraps.
Yeah, for right now. He's done tons of voiceover work. But if you've ever seen that kid, you would know him from something. I kind of wonder if he was ever on an Erie, Indiana, or I don't think he was on Erie, but I wonder if he was ever on like Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps, because it feels like he would have been the right age for that kind of stuff. But so far not seeing it on his IMDb. Although he was in a couple episodes of, or at least one episode of Touched by an Angel, which I think we'll be covering on this show at some point.
I mean, that almost certainly is happening. We've basically been told we're covering that. It's not even like a choice on our part.
No, yeah, it's gonna happen. He played Dennis the Menace in all new Dennis the Menace, the TV series.
Every generation has one.
Yeah, and he was in a Goosebumps video game, so that totally counts. But yeah, he got shot, and so he's hurt, and they're trying to figure out how to get this concluded in a non-violent fashion, though.
Well, Dad is willing to kill them all.
Yeah. Later on, the Dad. What is this guy's name? Is it Walter or
I called him Wayne because he has Wayne Gretzky hair.
Yeah. Okay. But he seems prepared to murder his entire family, which seems to catch his wife off guard.
She has to mention that murder is a sin, and so is suicide. So she doesn't want him causing his entire family to go to hell by forcing them to all commit suicide.
Yeah. So we see Calder, G. Gordon Liddy's character. He's in jail, in prison, but he's watching TV and he catches something on the television that grabs his eye, but he has really bad reception, so he doesn't get the full story. So he gives a call to Chance and starts, taunting him and teasing him like Hannibal Lecter would. Tells him to come pay him a visit, get a little quid pro quo action going.
But he doesn't, though.
He doesn't. He still gives him the information, though. The Snow goes in his place. And apparently doesn't know who Calder even is. Like, doesn't know Calder. Never met him before. Has no connection to him whatsoever.
It's funny. What's funny is that there's really no reason for him. Like he solves the whole plot of the episode from watching on TV. But all seems to come down to, like, I recognize that mountain from this bad guy Wikipedia article that we all have.
Like, I wonder if there was some sort of contractual thing, like that they couldn't write him out of the show. Like, he had to be, like, was he a producer or something where he couldn't they had to include him? All I know is
that it doesn't work.
No, it's weird though, like, because I'm like, how you already mentioned, he was in 46 episodes and our main characters were only in 45 according to IMDb. Who knows if that's true or not, but, like, the show seems to be built around him as a central character. And then when they were like, well, we got to catch you and put you in jail, but was it like, okay, but he still has to be involved in every episode? Or like,
well, here's the main problem with the show, as far as that the conceit as it is at this moment in season 2, episode 12. What works for Hannibal Lecter is, as written and as acted in Silence of the Lambs, is this character who is exceedingly interesting and charismatic. And when he's on screen, you can't not look at him. Playing off of another character who is also compelling and interesting. Lucky Venus is not interesting. That's Chance Bowman. We don't see him interacting this episode with Calder.
Yeah.
The only times we get to see Calder in a room with another actor is that he really has, like, one scene with Jon Snow, and all I can think of was, holy shit, G. Gordon Liddy is a terrible actor. He has no presence. He's got a thin voice. He's tiny.
Yes.
He doesn't look menacing. He doesn't look smarter than you. Like, he doesn't look anything. Like, the idea is we're supposed to know who he is and think this guy is this mastermind. Because he masterminded Watergate, which has been, at this point, like, fucking child's whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, the whole generation can go get fucked because you guys had a fucking aneurysm over nothing compared to what we have to deal with every fucking day, what you guys have built. And then you made him a fucking celebrity. So good for you. You built the whole tower for us to fall on our heads. But, like, this guy's sitting there and he's just shit. He's nothing. He's an absolute thin little wafer. He's a little Keebler elf. He's nothing with his stupid mustache, his thin little reedy voice. He does not control the room. He doesn't control the camera. They're trying to frame him. They frame him from behind his little orange jumpsuit and his tiny little old man ass. He looks completely useless. They try to play him for comedy. It's not funny. He's nothing.
Yeah.
He's the whole it's Silence of the Lamb, Hannibal Lecter, if Hannibal Lecter was an absolute nothing.
Yeah. It is. It's the Hannibal Lecter stand-in played by F. Murray Abraham in National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1 was better than the G. Gordon Liddy Hannibal Lecter.
Absolutely. Holy shit.
I will say that G. Gordon Liddy also starred in another 18-wheeler show. He didn't star, he guested. He was in one episode of a show called The Highwayman from 1987, which will probably make its way onto the show if we can find an episode of it. Basically, it's about a big high-tech 18-wheeler. The driver was one of a team of federal marshals empowered to right wrongs where ordinary laws do not reach and to haul special cargo. The truck was heavily armed and had a cab that turned into a helicopter for quick escapes.
So it's Mask.
Yes, it is kind of Mask. But anyway, so Snow goes and he explains that he recognized Defiance Mountain because he knows, and he recognized, I guess he recognized Harrison on television. And he knows
the whole
that
plot hinges on this, just him like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah. And he knows that there is hidden gold bullion in the hills somewhere that used to belong to Saddam Hussein.
What?
Yes. So they stole. So I guess Harrison and some people that he was in the Gulf War with stole some bullion from Saddam Hussein.
Is this a sequel to Three Kings?
I guess, and then brought it home and put it in Defiance Mountain somewhere. And then there was a partner of Harrison's that had gotten killed, and he thought that he had sent a letter to is it Talbot? I think Talbot is the guy in the Family Guy, the dad, Wayne Gretzky hair, who he thought that he knew about the gold and was trying to stop them from getting it, but it turned out he'd never sent the letter, so the guy didn't even know, so they were up there trying to kill this guy for nothing because they thought he knew about the gold when he didn't, so they probably could have just gone up there and stolen it at night or something when he wasn't around or wasn't paying attention to them and then left.
They don't even bother showing the gold.
Yeah, they never get to the gold, which is weird. Like I would understand if Talbot had like dug up the gold and had found it and was hiding it, and they're like, all right, well, we got to go kill this guy to get our gold. But that doesn't even seem to be the case. They never bring it up. I guess the gold is just still lost in them there hills, and they'll never get it back.
It's very odd. It's a very weird thing. Like I said, and if I mentioned the show before, that like for every week since Three Kings came out, I have the from the commercial, the "We Three Kings be stealing the gold" stuck in my head. I think about it once a week, every week since it came out.
Well, also, this is right. But I mean, this is 2001, so this is right before we head back into Iraq and steal more gold. So they could reboot this show now, and it would be still accurate. They could have rebooted it in 2010, and they could have just redone this story again.
Was that like a thing back then of like fucking people steal from the original Desert Storm? Just stole a bunch of Saddam Hussein's gold and hid it in Montana?
Apparently.
Why did they hide it in fucking Montana? Was this what like this is a fucking, this isn't even like the fucking episode of The Simpsons where they steal all that Nazi art and gold and Grandpa and Mr. Burns. Well, Burns is dead in this. He's one of the first guys who gets killed. Is this a reference to that episode? Yeah. No one says get a room, fun boys.
So they the kid is losing a lot of blood. He's passing out. He won't wake up. So Chance goes in with
takes a chance
with some more supplies. so they can do a blood transfusion. And this doesn't go well because the ATF guys have their own sort of thing going on, and they are content to kill whoever it takes. But even though the main ATF, like the guy in charge, doesn't know about the gold plot, he doesn't want to get blamed for anything. So he's like, well, we got to take this guy out. We can't have any more like death on our hands.
It's very funny that like what it basically ends up happening is, so Chance is in there trying to help, and it's like, it's 44 minutes. A lot shit happens, but nothing really happens. I'm not going into the details of who walked into what room when, because it doesn't matter. Because like no one in this show has any, like, no one, this never feels tense, not for 1 second.
No.
Everyone's very calm about everything, and kind of blasé, which is what we were back then. Because history was over. We had all the gold. We were just wanting to watch action all night and call into TV stations and see our name on screen. But there was like, we finally have Jon Snow. Jon Snow goes to meet Calder. He gets the clue in the most stupid way possible. Like, he's like, basically Calder's like, I won't give you the information for free, but here's a bit more information. Here's a bit more information. I'll tell you everything except for this like one last detail, but you have to give me cable because I don't have bad TV reception, which is supposed to be funny. It's not. And he comes back still wearing his fucking coat.
Yeah.
And he like walks up to the head of the ATF and it's like your guy Harrington behind this something kind of gives it away. And then Harrington's like, let's all shoot. And even though the assistant AG has just basically told him like your guys are crooked.
Yeah.
Like he just like walks, like he's like, I guess I can't stop them. I can't yell out stop shooting.
Yeah. No, they get a sight of we haven't really talked about him, but the brother-in-law, the guy who was out with the kid when they got shot at the beginning of the episode, he gets shot in the back by one of the ATF guys, and then everybody just starts opening fire on everybody else, and it's a whole thing. One of the Harrison's partner, Peyton Manning's partner, he sent him around the other side of the house to try to kill the family at some point whenever they come out. But that guy ends up getting shot by Chance.
Chance just straight up murders him with like the most casual way possible.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, and then he just shoots him dead. And
they'll never have to explain that because he's just a truck driver. They can go around killing people.
Yeah, and
not a guy with a fake name.
And then the AG shows up here. Assistant AG shows up with his gun. He arrests Harrison, tells him about the letter, and everything seems to be fine. I mean, the dad does get arrested and put in a police car because I mean he did shoot at some federal agents, so I guess he is still going to jail for a while.
And he does appear to be some kind of cult leader, so there's that.
We missed that he does send a car out and blows up a remote control car, like an actual car.
Why does he have the ability to have a remote control bomb car?
I don't know. Like his car just starts driving towards where some cops have set up a lookout point, and it blows up. Which seems like maybe not the right thing to do. Like he does seem kind of like a nut job. Like even though
he seems, that's the only time he smiles in the entire episode is when he's
is about to blow this up.
C uses her chilling negotiation powers.
Oh yes.
To eventually, what does she even? She kind of tells them that she doesn't even negotiate. She just kind of like calls them over the phone while the shooting is happening and tells them basically like uses like code words kind of to say like tell Chance that it's all going down and it's all rigged.
Yeah, she doesn't do a very good job. She's like, I can't really promise that you'll be safe here. Sorry, buddy. Like, doesn't really give him a good feeling. And even the other ATF guys, like, what are you doing?
They have a moment where Chance tells her that she needs to negotiate with him. Then he just walks in anyways. I don't know how that happened, but he had every moment say like she's like, I'm not trained like you are and like everyone else is. I can't do this. And you're just waiting for her to say like, what about Millie's chili? He doesn't.
No, but that's the reason we got the Millie's chili scene at the beginning. But I fully expected her to be like, well, my uncle's name was Wayne Talbot, just like yours, and I felt something for him, and so don't do this.
You guys like the band California?
Oh man, we didn't mention. There's one other thing to mention before we kind of wrap this up, because again, not much happens in this, despite it. I expected there to be more truck driving, and there isn't, which is a little disappointing.
I mean, literally, the truck is parked the entire time.
Yeah, they do use the lab in the back to like see if there were bombs or something nearby, but it really is not explained. We do get the nice little throwback to what we had in Time Cop, where she is explaining it and a character goes, English, please, because we have to have that whenever it comes to technology.
I mean, that was the 2001 version of So That Just Happened.
And there is a great moment where she is kind of suspicious of the ATF guy's story from the initial encounter, and thinks that maybe something was going on with them. So she goes to get the personal effects of the agent who was shot, and she grabs his gun and his vest and a couple other things. Those are conveniently sitting next to a giant crate that's just marked blood.
It's red too, so you know it.
It was so alarming to see this big crate in a tent that just says blood on it.
Oh, it's one of my favorite set dressings I've ever seen.
It's pretty incredible.
It's what we do in Shadows, just straight up just steal it.
But yeah, then everything is just fine. The bad guys go to jail. The kid is taken to the hospital, and they head off on their way on their truck for the next adventure.
Yeah, we have even have Jon Snow go within literally within minutes of it happening, going like, "Yep, Harrington's telling all the authorities everything that went down. He's singing his song to everybody. Like he gave up completely."
Oh, I think that was actually not Harrison. That was the
other guy
that Chance shot. He survived, and he told everything.
So like would eventually have solved itself anyways.
Yes. One thing I do want to mention before we wrap up is Lucky Vanu, his restaurant, the Lucky Devils, threw in the towel in 2015.
It lasted 9 years?
Yeah, it was 10 years actually. So it was on Hollywood Boulevard. Once popular joint situated right on Hollywood Boulevard, thrived in the late 2000s as LA and many other cities racked up gourmet burger place after gourmet burger place, eventually hoping to flip around into a more all-around eatery, but unfortunately has fallen by the wayside. Also known as Lucky's Tavern, the place was always a local hang for Hollywood citizens, lacking a wealth of other casual, non-touristy options in their own backyard. Palates are changing. So they closed it down.
One of only 2,000 Lucky's Taverns in California alone.
Yeah, sign on the door. Thanks, patrons, for their decade-long run, but otherwise, Lucky Devils is gone for good.
Didn't make it to COVID.
No. I mean, it probably wouldn't have survived there either. But I wish it were still around, because I would have liked to have gone. That would have been fun to maybe spot Lucky Vanu there and just say like, "Hey, I just watched your show, 18 Wheels of Justice."
Was it weird on set when 9/11 happened?
Did they pause for 5 minutes for a moment of silence? I'm sure.
It all happened.
All right. So as we do here on Center of Weirdness, we have to rate this on our weirdness scale, our weirdness meter, our scale of weirdness, whatever it happens to be called at any given moment, because I always forget. So yeah, let's decide, how weird is 18 Wheels of Justice?
Your turn to go first.
Oh, okay. This is a hard one, because this is a weird show. Like, just from the premise alone, it's a weird show. Like, it is, like, it's not unusual. All right, this guy has witnessed a murder and is turned out from a crime boss, and it's got to go into sort of a witness protection type thing. That's a fairly we get that idea. But to make him a truck driver and to basically make it the Incredible Hulk, but with a truck, adds to the weirdness factor for sure. Having a legitimate racist criminal be your bad guy adds to the weirdness factor for sure. Having a montage of truck driving set to this very, very not good song.
Oh, by the way, the song is not good.
Yeah, the song is very not good. Is weird. For a show called 18 Wheels of Justice to have an episode where they barely drive the truck around is weird. It never, I mean, it doesn't get supernatural, but then you got the Saddam Hussein gold hidden in the mountain. So that's extra weird. I think I'm going to go with a solid 7 for this one. I think, yeah, 7 feels right.
Okay, I'm going to go with 6.5.
Oh, we're doing halves. Okay. We're being cowards now.
Because, yes, for everything you say, like the Saddam Hussein gold really, that helped. The truck was just parked for most of the show.
Yeah, it feels like we kind of, like, I wonder if this was the only one they could. Yeah, if this is the only one they could like rip and put online because it didn't have as much truck driving in it.
I don't know. To me, I needed the truck to have more powers.
Yeah,
it needed to have more superpowers.
It needs to talk to him like Kit or something.
Yeah. What is weird to me about the show in general is that it had a very specific concept of being like the incredible truck, but at this point in the show where we're coming in, that conceit appears to be completely gone by season 2.
Yeah, he's no longer just driving around to avoid being killed by hitmen. He is just kind of out helping people again.
And the bad guy is now kind of is his savant who's helping him through through watching TV in jail.
Yeah, I mean, how many? I mean, I wonder how many episodes have basically the same idea that he just gets a call from Calder and then he has to go see him or get some information that helps him solve the case.
Like, he doesn't even seem that angry about the Calder. He's like, we should call Calder again. I'm like, this dude killed your family and tried to kill you. Like, I don't care. Like, literally, like at that point, other people can die, and I'm not talking to you. Like this family I don't know can die. I'm just not talking to this guy who killed my family.
Yeah.
Like, my sense of justice isn't that great. I don't care how big a truck I have. But yeah, like the fact that he has 2 names is weird. But it is completely unimportant by this part. But it's just really balanced by the fact that fucking nothing happens.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty, like, they really did stretch to fill this 44 minutes. I mean, I get
this show did not have to be an hour-long drama. My God,
I get.
I know they all were at the time.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't have a studio audience, you had to be 44 minutes plus commercials. But fucking hell, what? Like, no, you don't have to be.
I mean, I get why they included that Chili Millie scene, but it certainly feels just like they were padding the time.
Besides the whole song thing, which you can, they don't even tell you the name of the song when they tell you the name of the singers.
No, they just say buy this album
from Trauma Records. I don't like. I hate when someone's like, when one of these shows or movies are like, here's the songs from this singer are featured from this record label. Go find and buy it. I'm like, I can't buy. Like, what do you mean? Where do I go to buy from a record label? Tell me it's at Kmart or some shit. Like,
well,
let me go to Trauma Records and buy this vinyl record. Like, fucking tell me if it is available at Woolco Woolworth. Tell me if it is at fucking Kmart. Tell me where I can actually buy this goddamn record.
I will say that we, Trauma Records is a funny name, but apparently it is a LA-based independent record label that was distributed through Interscope, an actual major record label, and they signed and developed bands such as Bush and No Doubt. So they actually were working with legitimate artists at a certain point in their career, and they also
they created a marriage that has fallen apart.
That is, yeah, you're right, they did. And she was much more interested in the countryside of what they were doing with California. So that's why she's moved on now to Blake Shelton. So
sexy.
Interesting enough, too, Trauma Records was the label under which NBA superstar Shaquille O'Neal released his hip-hop albums.
Oh, Shaq Diesel?
Maybe. It says, however, his most anticipated album, Shaquille O'Neal Presents His Super Fins Volume 1, was never released.
I'm not sure they understand what the word anticipated means.
It also released several soundtracks to popular films starring Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, such as Holiday in the Sun and When in Rome.
Is this Superstar Friends the little tiny cartoon general?
Yeah, the general lays down a couple verses. Apparently, Interscope has all but phased out the label during its decline in management and sales.
What rhymed with Icy Hot?
The label was reactivated as Trauma 2 Records. However, the website has been offline since September 2018.
Didn't make it to the pandemic.
Did not. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for 18 Wheels of Justice. Maybe if we find another episode of this show, we'll revisit it in the future.
No, it's okay.
I would like to be fair, I would like to see an episode with Billy D. Williams.
Yes, I wouldn't mind if we somehow get a hold of a season 1 episode that has a really stupid plot. I don't need any more season 2 episodes.
No, I would like to see an episode with Billy D. Williams in the first season where he's running around trying to avoid being killed by various assassins. I think that could be interesting. But yeah, this was probably the worst episode that we could have watched because there's not as much truck-based content. But it's still fun. I'm so glad we saw it. The opening credits are a lot of fun, so definitely track those down, even if you're never going to watch the whole show, which you shouldn't bother. And yeah, I don't know. This was I mean, I had fun watching it, and I had fun looking at all the TNN little chyrons that popped up at the bottom of the screen.
I still can't get past them boys dressed like sissies. And somebody who's really thinks they can take out Lord Steven Regal in the WWE.
That's right. But until next time, when we're back talking about another weird episode of a weird TV show, I've been Josh.
I've been Skinner.
Keep on trucking out there and keep it weird.
I hate happy endings.
You've been listening to Center of Weirdness. If you like this show, rate and review us wherever you find it, but especially on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to every episode at centerofweird.com, where you can also find all of the old Predictocast episodes. And if you want to get in touch with us to tell us about a show we should cover, hit us up on Twitter at WeirdCenter. As always, thanks for listening.